Hi, welcome back to whatever this is. My name is Kaysa. I'm online, and today I'm going to be talking about the show I saw on Netflix, The Fall of the House of Usher. Now, of course, that was like a year ago, so I already watched it like twice. I really enjoyed it. It was a great cinematic experience for me as one who has finally had a show that I could actually speak on in detail. I know I did Train to Busan, but it's not like I gave you details. I kind of just was zombies. But this one, I have a particular episode that I actually want to talk about because we're going to talk about the spooky stuff. I know this whole 15 days of spooky hasn't been like actually spooky, but it's just my excuse to talk about stuff that can generally fall under Halloween or spookiness. That's what this whole thing is. For those who are not aware of the show, it is a mini-series where siblings Roderick and Madeline Usher have built a pharmaceutical company into an empire of wealth, privilege, and power. However, secrets come to light when the heirs to the Usher dynasty start dying. It's pretty crazy, and I would recommend it if you're interested into some creepiness and just random things happening. But there's a particular episode that I want to talk about, and this episode really it got me psychologically. The reason why this episode affected me a lot, because it was satisfying, but just the reason why it was satisfying, the way it came to that point was just absolutely vile. The episode is The Pit and the Pendulum. I'll catch you up to speed. In the earlier episode, the youngest son of the Usher family dies because he threw a party and acid rain happened. But while at the party, the wife was also there, and she had acid rain fall upon her too. But she survives. I think she was the only survivor, if I remember correctly. Because of her surviving, of course, she's horribly disfigured, she's bandaged up, and she's sitting in the hospital. And her husband is the eldest son of the Usher family. The eldest son of the Usher family is not a fan of the fact that his wife was at his younger brother's party, because that party can be quite promiscuous. That party was built on debauchery. So he assumes that she was cheating on him, and he starts losing his mind. And he even starts doing drugs. And he does this in a way that you're thinking, oh, he's going to lose his mind off camera and something weird's going to happen. But no, turns out in the episode, The Pit and the Pendulum, he had been drugging his wife to be paralyzed. So she was making progress, but he brought her into the home because they're like multi-millionaires or billionaires or whatever. And he was drugging her to keep her paralyzed. And while she's paralyzed, he would pluck out her teeth. Mind you, though she was paralyzed, she felt everything. She just could not move. And this was so absolutely sinister, because when she finally realized she was being physically tortured by her teeth being removed. Have you ever had a tooth removed? You know how much numbing agents that they use just to fill in a cavity, let alone having your teeth removed, and you have to sit there in just pain, and your entire body is bandaged up and disfigured. No. It comes to a point that the eldest son, the reason why the youngest son was able to have that party in the first place is because the eldest son did not actually take this certain building off the books or something along those lines. Business. He didn't do his job. So he goes to the building, and he's supposed to be there to oversee the demolishing of the building. He goes inside. He is on some type of drug that he took. And, he's like pissing on the ground, essentially trying to piss on where his brother died type of thing. And, he's going through his whole like triumph situation right after he had tortured his wife. And then he falls paralyzed. Turns out the drugs he thought he just took, he actually took the paralyzing agent. And he's sitting there on the ground, and while the entire building is being demolished around him, of course, part of the, I don't know what part of the building, I'm not a construction worker, but something starts hanging down and slowly coming down, slower and slower, like a pendulum, and starts cutting him up. And that was just super satisfying, because why? But the other thing is that The Fall of the House of Usher is based on of Edgar Allan Poe stories and poems. And the original The Pit and the Pendulum is also interesting. It is a short story about a guy who gets arrested, and in court they sentence him to be, in a jail cell. And while he's in a jail cell, long story short, he ends up being tied up in a pendulum in the same fashion, slowly coming down towards him, starts swinging and everything. But he was able to save himself with some mice. He used meat to put on, I guess, the ropes that were tying him down, and then the mice chewed through it. He got out of that, and then he almost fell into the pit for one reason, and then, but the French came to save him, or somebody came to save him. Someone came, and someone saved him. So he survived, the person in the short story, but not the guy in the Fall of the House of Usher. And I'm glad for that. This isn't really any solving. There's nothing to solve here. I just wanted to talk about it. If there's anything to solve, don't do drugs. Don't be an asshole. Don't torture somebody. And then on the other hand, no, there is no don't cheat on your husband bullshit. You don't deserve to be tortured like that. That's not a what? there is no justification for that mess. Okay, she got caught in the crossfires of this entire family. Of course, they were in a contract, by the way, so they were destined to die, the family, so that's not her fault either. I guess you could say, you know what? Here's the real thing to learn. Don't marry rich, boring people who don't have real personalities that you actually care about, and if you don't actually vibe with them. Watch who you marry. That's the real lesson. Watch who you marry. You don't know who you're dealing with. You never know. This guy got paranoid, did drugs, and then came back and started torturing her because he had the money and the resources, and he was paranoid. So watch who you marry. And that's it. That's your lesson for today. Oh my goodness. I'm just saying, that episode was just wow. I'm glad he's gone, but did that even need to happen at all? Because it was happening the entire time. I think that's the thing that messed with me the most. She was suffering like this since the first person died. That's what messed with me. I'm she was just, so much time has passed, and she's dealing with this dude. Be careful who you marry. You never know. And if you're unsatisfied with your marriage, well, leave. And that's just about it, I guess. But leaving is not as simple. So, we see with this, he could have just got a divorce. So, I'll go on another tangent. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what your thoughts were of that episode. Have you watched the Fall of House of Usher? Fall of the House of Usher. Have you seen that episode? What are your thoughts? Please let me know down below. And I'll see you probably, I don't know.